Welcome to BeFM Drama. This season bring you brand new radio plays adapted from the forgotten stories of Charles Dickens. While the haunting stories we're adapting were released every year as a special holiday collection, they're not usually about the holidays themselves. They're about the lives, loves, and struggles that the characters in them face. This week we adapt Dickens's 1851 entry to this series. I was a little nervous to adapt this one because this year Dickens decided not to write a novel or a story, but rather an essay. It seemed like an impossible task to turn it into a radio play, especially if you're removing all references to the holiday that the essay is about. But reading more closely, I realized that this essay had a very touching and powerful story about life, loss, and love. It also had ghosts. Today's story is inspired by Charles Dickens's What Christmas Means as We Grow Older. Our story begins again in the driver's seat of an ambulance where Goblin and Fern wait for a call. Please enjoy Ghosts for Dinner.
One of the hardest parts of my job is being there at the end. I try to save people's lives so that they can spend another moment with their friends, family, and loved ones. But sometimes, in that process, I end up being the last person they ever see. All of the things they never got to say start to be said, and I'm the only one to hear it. You try not to get emotional, but sometimes you can't help it. When I'm waiting for a call, I dread getting one of those.
I hope this is a slow night because it's been a long week.
Don't you get soft on me.
I'm not getting soft, I'm getting old. My back is killing me. We've been climbing down into rivers and up bell towers. If I have to climb up one more flight of stairs...
You really gotta stop complaining in front of the patients.
I'm not complaining, I'm just expressing my concerns.
They have their own problems. It's not the moment.
Well, what do you want me to say?
Just say, okay, happy to help.
Okay, I can do that. From now on, I'm just gonna smile and say, okay, happy to help. But you and I will know that's a secret code. It means I'm in pain, but I can't talk about it right now.
23 Dickens, I've got a priority.
23 Dickens.
At the Gyrus Apartments on West 27th, an 89-year-old woman is unconscious in her apartment. Family says she was confused and having trouble breathing.
On our way. We arrived at the apartment and a man was waiting for us.
It's this way. The elevator's broken.
Okay, happy to help.
She's on the 7th floor.
Okay, happy to help.
It's my mother. She collapsed on the bed. It's like she's having trouble breathing. She's not responding to us anymore.
Did anything out of the ordinary happen?
She's been acting really weird all night. It's like she's not all there.
How long has she been like this?
I don't know. I just flew in from out of state. We came over for this annual dinner thing we do, and she was acting really weird. I know she really looks forward to this. She's alone most of the time, but I didn't realize how bad she'd gotten.
What do you mean, bad?
You'll understand when you see the plates all over the house. I guess she's been making food for ghosts.
Making food for ghosts?
There was only supposed to be 10 of us, but we showed up and she had like 50 or 60 plates made. She had like 20 places at the table, and she had carried up a bunch of old card tables, covered them in plates. She had plates on the coffee table. She brought up all the TV dinner trays. She had them on top of the bookshelves, her nightstand, all spread out across the kitchen counter. I mean, I don't know how long she's been doing this. She's liable to get ants.
Did she say anything?
We asked her who all the plates were for, and she started naming people that haven't been around in years. She was naming people that were dead before I was born. I thought it was some kind of memory problem, but then she set out a plate for my little sister that was lost during childbirth. I think she's had some full break with reality. She's seeing ghosts. She kept trying to tell us about all the ghosts she saw, and we kept trying to explain to her that they weren't real. We told her that she needed to get some help or something, that maybe hosting the dinner this year was too much stress, and that she needed to think about maybe moving someplace, a nice community or something. But all she wanted to do was introduce us to ghosts, and then in the middle of dinner, she said she had to lie down, and things got bad, and we called you. Here we are. This is the place.
We walked in to find a confused, scared family hovering over couches they couldn't sit on for fear of knocking over all the plates. The house may not have been haunted, but it sure felt eerie to see all these plates of food covering every surface, with no matching guest. In the bedroom, we found Mrs. Bednall, She needed to get to the hospital immediately. Miss Bednall, can you hear me? You're going to be all right.
Where's my family?
They're following in their cars.
Oh, that's too bad. I hope I didn't ruin family dinner.
You'll see them when we get to the hospital.
The hospital? What, 15 minutes away? I don't know that I have that much time left. I've already held on so long.
You're going to be fine.
You don't need to lie to me. I'm okay. I knew this was coming. I'm just happy I made it to one last family dinner.
It looked lovely.
My 89th one. I almost made it to 90. I knew I'd have to start missing them eventually, but I wasn't in any hurry to start.
I wanted to protest, but I knew she was right. She somehow sensed that it was her time to go. I'd do everything I could to save her, but it looked like we had more time left en route than she had left on Earth.
They began the year I was born. My father was the first of his siblings to have a child, and they were so spread out that they promised that no matter what was going on, no matter how far apart they were, they'd all get together once a year for family dinner. I remember as a little girl how amazing it was to be the star of the show. I was the only child for many years, so I was the main event. Aunts and uncles and grandmother would show up with cookies and candies and toys and presents. I got all of the attention and affection. Family night was everything to me back then. It encircled all of my attention, and the whole year was spent just waiting for the next one. But as time passed and the family got bigger, the dinners had their sad moments. There was the year that my grandmother was too sick to come. Then the year that she was gone. The year that a whole branch of uncles, aunts and cousins stopped coming, and the growing family suddenly got smaller. I overheard my mother telling my father that Grandma had been the glue that held the two sides of the family together, that they had overlooked some long past split for her sake and mine. And with Grandma gone, they no longer felt the need to pretend that everything was okay. But family night was still everything to me. The family got bigger. There were marriages, new aunts that cooked the most delicious dishes, new babies, new brothers and sisters, new cousins that I got to carry around the house and play with like dolls while the grown-ups were catching up. New locations, beautiful new places that we could take the train to when it was an uncle's turn to host and show off his beautiful new home. It still encircled everything. But as time passed, other things overleaped that narrow boundary. My thoughts were on other things I wanted to do, other people who wanted to be with me, and who I thought I wanted. There were the years that I begged my parents not to make me go, not to make me waste days on a train to some musty old house when there were so many things I'd rather do. But they always made me go, and I'm thankful for that. I never realized how few family dinners they and I had left together. I remember the year that those long-lost aunts and uncles returned to family dinner at long last, not to make up with my mom and dad, but to mourn their loss.
As the old woman looked sadly off in the distance, I felt like I should be doing something to reassure her that everything would be okay. But I realized what she needed more than anything was for someone to hear her. So I did. Rather than be one more person who didn't listen to what she had to say, I just let her talk.
I remember the family dinner where I tried to surprise everyone with the news that I was making the family bigger by one. I brought my fiancé, only to learn that not everyone approved. My siblings and my aunts and uncles fell into war once again. The next year, my husband and I came again with the same announcement. Our family was once again getting bigger by one. A baby. The relatives who were previously cool to us now doted on us. 2 united families, previously at daggers, drawn on our account. We agreed that family dinner was not a time to disagree, but to forgive and to be together no matter what. Family dinner was not everything, but it was a time to share and reflect on everything else. My husband and I had more children. We lost some. My children had children. Their children had children. We lost my husband. When I grew old, my thinking on family dinner changed again. I looked back on the things that never were, as gravely as on the things that have been or are gone, or have been and still are. Family dinner became a time not just to welcome new grandnieces and nephews, but to welcome old aspirations, old projects, old loves, and old losses. Yes, when I sit at that table, I see the ghosts of the past. I see my grandmother, my mother, my father, the children I lost, the children that were never born. I see my cousin William, a poor misshapen boy on earth, a glorious beauty now. His dying mother said it grieved her much to leave him here alone for so many years as it was likely would elapse before he came to her, being such a little child. But he went quickly and was laid upon her breast. I see them both at my table. I see my younger brother Michael, a gallant boy who fell far away upon a burning sand beneath a burning sun and said, "Tell them at home, with my last love, how much I could have wished to kiss them once, but that I died contented and had done my duty." He smiles as he sits to my dinner. There was my son, over whom they read the words, "Therefore we commit his body to the deep," and so consigned him to that lonely ocean and sailed on. Or there was my daughter, who lay down to her rest in the dark shadow of green forests, and on earth awoke no more. I set places around my table for all of them. The playful children are unconscious of their guests, but I can see them. I can see an invisible pair of boots by the door, an unseen jacket draped over a chair, a ghostly visitor warming by the fire, a radiant arm around a favorite neck. Do we build no castles in the clouds now? Let our thoughts flutter like butterflies. My dear brother and I would often picture the changes that were to come upon our lives, and merrily imagined how we would speak and walk and think and talk when we came to be old. His destined habitation in the city of the dead received him in his prime. Shall he be shut out from our remembrance? Would his love have so excluded us? Lost friend, lost child, lost parent, sister, brother, husband, wife, we will not so discard you. You shall hold your cherished places in our hearts and by our fires. We will not shut you out. I invite you to dinner, to share you with the family you would have known had you not been lost, in hopes that when I am gone, I too will always be welcome at that table, that I too will always be remembered as part of that family, that I can give love and be loved by those who have yet to join it. I know they don't understand what I mean. I know they were busy with work and school and thought it was a pain to fly across the country to have dinner at an old lady's house. I know that I guilted them into coming. I know that they think I'm losing my marbles talking about people they can't see and times they don't remember. But one day they'll understand what family means as we grow older. when even our graves are old, other hopes than ours are young, other hearts than ours are moved, and other happiness blooms, ripens, and decays. I hope I am always part of it.
We're almost there.
Will you tell my family something for me?
We're almost there. You can tell them yourself.
Tell them at home, with my last love, how much I could have wished to kiss them once, but that I died contented and had done my duty. And tell them to clean up the plates. I don't want my apartment to get ants.
When we pulled into the emergency room, she was already gone. Because they were following me, I inherited the grim task of letting the family know.
What were her last words?
I thought about how to summarize everything she'd shared with me. How to encapsulate all of that pain, wisdom, and hope. I tried to remember the words she wanted me to pass on, but just thinking about it got me all choked up. I had this lump in my throat, and I could only sputter out a few words that I guessed explained it all pretty succinctly.
Did she say anything?
She said she loved you. As we drove off, I didn't feel much like talking. I just waited for the next call to see what I could do.
How'd it go back there? Did the family take it okay?
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. They have each other.
How about you? How are you doing?
Okay. Happy to help.
Thank you for listening to BeFM Drama. This was Ghosts for Dinner, based on What Christmas Means as We Grow Older by Charles Dickens. This radio play was written by me, Ryan Estrada. It starred Sam Hazelton as Goblin, Kelly Brassbridge as Fern, Jenny Payne Wheeler as Mrs. Bednall, me as Jack Bednall, and Peter Starr Northrup as Dispatch. Most of the music in this episode was by Soft and Furious. Goblin's theme is by Unheard Music Concepts and was released under Creative Commons Attribution License. As was the song you hear now, Hidden Agenda by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech. Tune in to the next episode of BeFM Drama for another Goblin story, Relatively Rich. It's about two relatives reliving a lifetime, one rich, one poor, and how their opinions of one another's circumstances and what should have happened differently don't exactly match. Thank you for listening. See you next time on BeFM Drama.